Hey guys, Liam here. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Welcome back to another episode of Pokémon WTF Moments, the show where we look at the Pokémon anime and we just dissect how rubbish it can be sometimes. Even though we love it, sometimes it can just be rubbish. Apologies, by the way, if you can hear the fan in the background, because it's warm. Just bloody warm. The UK's warm at the moment. Probably not as warm as where you live if you're not from the UK, and I get that, you know, different temperatures, different climates and all that. But it's warm for us, and that's what matters.
It's my biggest fan.
Of course, if you're excited for more Pokemon WTF moments, make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you're new, and share this video with a friend. I'd really appreciate it. Without further ado, let's have a look at the WTF moments for Pokemon Season 1, Episode 21, Bye Bye Butterfree. The episode begins with Ash, Misty and Brock arriving at a cliff edge and then staring over the edge at the rocks below like they've never seen a cliff before, and like, what's the big deal? You were literally in Maiden's Peak last episode, which is also on a cliff, so what's the hype here? Apparently this ridge adjacent to the ocean leads to Saffron City, which makes no sense because Saffron City is completely landlocked. Like, none of the routes heading into Saffron City have ocean anywhere near them. The gang spot a bunch of tiny little white specks in the distance just above the cliffs, which Misty says look like Butterfree. I mean, they don't look like Butterfree since you can barely see them at all. They just look like little specks of dust floating around. Kind of like in my top 5 saddest goodbyes video from 2015. God, I hate that video. Apparently it's the Butterfree's season of love, which is when they lay their eggs, which is a really weird way to say literally every time I stick them in the daycare.
Well, actually, Liam, the breeding mechanic wouldn't be introduced until Generation 2, so that's probably why the story in the anime doesn't take that into account.
No, but seriously, if you were thinking of commenting that, I have just one question for you. Is it fun being such an insufferably boring cunt? Brock basically says that if Ash's Butterfree doesn't cross the ocean right the fuck now, it'll never have babies. Firstly, how convenient that Ash and co would stumble across this supposed special Butterfree mating ground as soon as the mating season is in effect. But more importantly, if it's a mating season, doesn't that mean that if they missed their chance this year, they could just come back next year? And if Brock's apparently so knowledgeable about this whole scenario, why has he never said to Ash, hey Ash, make sure you get to the cliffs that somehow lead to Saffron City by this date because we don't want to miss Butterfree mating season? I'm just saying, the whole premise of this episode is a complete train wreck. Direct quote from Misty.
I'm surprised there was a hot air balloon for rent out here.
Yeah, me too. It does seem, even for a piece of fiction, a little bit too convenient that there'd be a hot air balloon available to rent in the middle of nowhere and with no instructor or pilot, do you call them pilots in a hot air balloon? Probably, or health and safety officer to give them any advice on how to fly it? Once they get close enough to all the Butterfree who are now pairing off and finding mates, Ash sends out his own Butterfree, and this whole scenario actually starts to feel a little bit weird. Throughout the anime, Pokemon are shown to understand humans and be somewhat sentient, so from Butterfree's point of view, his friend just woke him up, pointed to a crowd of his own species and went, go on, fuck. Actually, that makes Ash sound like a pretty good wingman, to be honest. Bravo. Ash's Butterfree goes from Butterfree to Butterfree, getting rejected every time. Oh, this seems awfully familiar. Thank God I cut my hair, grew a beard, and got contact lenses is all I can say. Direct quote from Brock.
Maybe none of those Butterfree is its type.
Typical nice guy behavior here. Suddenly everyone that rejects you isn't your type. Mate, he was approaching them as if he were attracted literally seconds ago. You're telling me that now they've turned him down, he suddenly wasn't interested in the first place? Come off it. More hot air balloons arrive filled with Butterfree trainers, and this is starting to feel a little bit creepy. All these people are gathered to watch a bunch of insects get down and dirty. Whatever you're into, I suppose. Brock spots a woman that he finds attractive, sending out her Butterfree and starts yelling at Ash's Butterfree to go and get with her Butterfree so that Brock has a chance with the trainer. I mean, even if it did work like that, which it definitely doesn't, Ash is Butterfree's trainer, so wouldn't he be the one the girl ends up with? Direct quote from Ash.
But Misty, if Butterfree doesn't find a mate, it won't ever have babies.
Again, as we've said at least twice now, it's a mating season, which means it will happen again next year. So if you're really that invested in it, if you really want Butterfree to find a mate and he doesn't find a mate this year, you can come back next year for the next mating season. Stop putting so much pressure on the poor little guy. Direct quote from Misty.
Go get him, Butterfree. The perfect mate for you's gotta be out there somewhere.
You know what? She's right. If only there was a Butterfree out there that looked strikingly different to the others, that stuck out like a sore thumb. Maybe with a color scheme someone in the 90s would call girly, so that you definitely knew it was different from the rest. Oh! Also, let's appreciate that this is how shiny Butterfree should have looked. as opposed to what we got, which is fine, but kind of pales in comparison to this one.
Well, actually, Liam, when shiny Pokemon were first introduced in Generation 2, the shiny coloration was determined by shifting the Pokemon's color palette to the next available one in the game's code. So they didn't really have the choice to make Butterfree shiny pink.
Yeah, we've heard all that before. Although if ever you're bored, have a look at the gold and silver debug menu, because that gives you a little bit more food for thought regarding the shiny theory. Ash's Butterfree gets rejected by the pink one, and in true nice guy form, doesn't take no for an answer. It continues doing the courtship dance, practically begging the pink one to be its mate. This isn't a good look, dude. Know when to quit. Same could be said about my YouTube career. Butterfree gets slapped across the face for its troubles. That's absolutely what you deserve for being persistent when you've already been told no. Direct quote from Misty.
What? That's so mean. That isn't fair.
Actually, Misty, if you've politely told a guy you're not interested and he doesn't take no for an answer and continues to try, and fail, to flirt with you to the point that it just becomes irritating, you have every right to tell him to bloody do one. Stupid nice guys thinking they're entitled to any girl they want. Ash's Butterfree can't handle rejection, so storms off to have a little mope. Mate, there's like 40 more Butterfree in the sky. Why aren't you out there playing the field? Ash asks why Butterfree looks so sad, and Brock says it's because it was rejected by someone it loved. Listen, lads, we need to have a talk because this is really important. You'll need to learn this because it will save you a lot of bother in the future. When you see a bird for the first time and you think, oh, she's well fit, wouldn't mind getting to know her better, that's not you being in love with her, so don't tell yourself that. You can't be in love with someone that you don't know or that you haven't spent significant time in the company of. What if you hang out with her and it turns out she's an arsehole or a racist? What if she talks with a mouthful? Don't set yourself up for a massive fall by telling yourself you're in love with someone that you barely know and you just happen to think is quite fit. Lesson over. Brock says he could write a book about the secrets of love and heartache, and Misty says she guesses that'd be Brock's autobiography. Ooh. That's mean. Ash wonders if the Pokedex could tell them a way to make that other Butterfree want Ash's Butterfree. As if Dexter's going to be full of those crappy relationship guru YouTubers that will tell you that you need to be an asshole if you want to get the girl or some bollocks like that. Direct quote from Misty.
Love is all about attacking your opponent first, getting a quick punch and surprise them. And while they're still weak, take the lead and you'll beat them, hands down.
I know this is a metaphor, but I mean, yikes, this doesn't sound healthy. Brock thinks a new look might help, so gives Butterfree a little scarf to wear. Because clearly every female Butterfree's dream is a Butterfree in a Rabombi cosplay. When Misty comments on how important this is to Ash, Ash explains that he raised this Butterfree himself and he'll show them all how good it is. So Ash doesn't particularly care about Butterfree finding love per se, he's more interested in his own reputation as a trainer. Nice. Ash tells Butterfree to use Whirlwind to impress the girl Butterfree, but wouldn't that just blow her away? And not in the good way? She's not impressed with his tackle attack either. It's almost like every Butterfree could use it. I bet she'd be way more impressed if you bust out Ice Punch or Dragon Rage. So in an episode filled with hot air balloons, Team Rocket elect to leave their own hot air balloon at home and bring this nifty Team Rocket branded helicopter. Which begs the question, why don't they bring this helicopter every time? There's literally no reason for Meowth to be outside the helicopter here. Like, he's not even wearing a safety harness or anything. And even if he was, this metal bar is just holding a giant butterfly net. What could Meowth possibly do to assist a giant butterfly net that would require him to be stood outside of the helicopter while it's in motion? What, is he just there in case the net gets tangled up so he can untangle it? I doubt it. It's just pointless. Ash tells Brock to chase Team Rocket's helicopter with their hot air balloon, and Brock advises him that Team Rocket's chopper is much faster. Make a note of that, because that'll be important later. What's important right now, though, is G Fuel! 30% off with code ACE today. Go use it. This is sour phaseberry. It's brand new. It's lovely. It's really, really nice. I don't normally like sour flavors, but this one, ooh. Code ACE gets you 30% off today. Don't miss it. Ash's Butterfree is conveniently the only Butterfree that doesn't get caught in Team Rocket's net. Damn, imagine if all the other Butterfree had tried flying out of the way. Ash tells Butterfree to use Stun Spore on the helicopter. Nope, that's the whole point. Just gonna let that sit for a minute. Stupid, innit? Ash's Butterfree is clearly struggling against Team Rocket, so he decides he'll send out Pidgeotto to help. But Misty stops him and explains that Butterfree is trying his best, and sending out Pidgeotto would just hurt his feelings. What are you talking about? There's like a bazillion Butterfree about to be abducted by criminals, and you're not letting Ash do everything he can to try and stop those criminals because you're worried about the feelings of one Butterfree. Can you imagine if that's what it was like in sports? Yeah, our goalie's let like 15 goals past right now. We need to sub him out for a different goalie or we're going to lose the championship? Oh no, leave him out there. He's trying his best. Can you tell I don't know sports? So Team Rocket escape with all the Butterfree, with Ash as Butterfree in hot pursuit. Ash tells Brock to go after the helicopter, and Brock says,
"Here goes,"
while turning up the hot air balloon's burner. Didn't Brock say earlier the helicopter is much faster? You're never gonna catch up. Apparently there's 100 Butterfree in here, and not a single one of them is struggling or trying in any way to escape. They all seem pretty chill. Can Stockholm Syndrome set in that quickly? Meowth doesn't care about money, he just wants to sit in a man's lap. Pass it on. Ahaha! They're doing the Team Rocket motto, even though they're the good guys. That's very funny! Misty sends out Starmie and asks it to use Tackle Attack, but Starmie spends so much time spinning around in the background of the screen that Misty's just left on screen like this for an uncomfortably long amount of time. Like, even when you think they're gonna use Starmie's spinning animation to make a really cool screen transition, Misty's still behind it, just staring a hole in us. I'm just saying, Butterfree, if you're gonna try and break this net or trellis or whatever it's meant to be with your Tackle Attack, maybe focus on an area that doesn't have the love of your life right behind it. Like, if anyone's gonna get hurt in this situation, it's gonna be the Pokemon that's right behind the point that you're impacting when it breaks. So maybe focus your attention on an area that has a Butterfree you don't care about behind it. Jessie, rather than use her own Pokemon, opts to twat Starmie with a sledgehammer. I mean, her only Pokemon is a poison type, so maybe she's protecting it by not sending Ekans out against a psychic type. Although saying that, wouldn't a sledgehammer technically be a steel type, which Starmie also resists? Maybe it was a dark type sledgehammer, because it was super effective. Ah yes, the old Pokemon Anime trope that if you spray a water type Pokemon with water, it instantly heals it, which we just know isn't the case. The worst part is, even in the future, Starmie doesn't get water absorb. This is just bollocks. As all the captured Butterfree begin to escape, Team Rocket try and recapture them using nets that are visibly too small to hold a single Butterfree. Team Rocket race off in their helicopter to chase down and try and recapture the escaped Butterfree. Ash and Co give chase in their hot air balloon, which we've already established is way too slow to catch up to the helicopter. Misty yells, "Hurry, faster!" and miraculously they somehow catch up to Team Rocket. What happened to the chopper being much faster? Pikachu hops on Butterfree's back so it can get closer to the helicopter. But with the way Butterfree's wings are positioned on its back, wouldn't having something sat in between them really hinder Butterfree's ability to fly? Pikachu jumps onto the helicopter and uses Thunder Shock on it. But wasn't Misty telling Ash before that using another Pokemon would just hurt Butterfree's feelings? Why is it okay for Pikachu to step in? Direct quote from Ash.
You did it, Pikachu! Great work!
Yeah, Butterfree was useless. The pink Butterfree starts doing the courtship dance for Ash's Butterfree, proving once again without a shadow of a doubt you can be as nice and as charming as you tell yourself you are, but girls will always go for the guy who stands idly by and watches as electric mice destroy helicopters. Now comes the sad part. Get the tissues ready. I'm not crying. You're crying. I'm actually not crying, surprisingly, because watching Ash constantly forget he even has a Butterfree, or trading it away and forgetting minutes later that he even traded it away in the episodes leading up to this episode, just takes the connection away from me. Like, they're not that close. Direct quote from Brock.
They have to cross the ocean to start their new family.
It does make you wonder why anyone would bother raising a Butterfree anyway if you inevitably are going to have to give it up so it can go and mate. Direct quote from Misty.
Your babies are gonna be beautiful.
Their babies are going to be Caterpie. Aren't you afraid of those? Direct quote from Ash. Don't worry, I'll just tell the other... Don't worry, I'll just tell the other Pokemon you're on a trip, and you'll come... Don't worry, I'll just tell the other Pokemon you're on a trip, and you'll come back someday. Oh, it still gets me. It still gets me. Probably because it's been 2 decades and he's still not seen it again. Oh, and here comes the montage. Tears after the cloudy weather playing in the background just to make it even more heart-wrenching. I hate this friggin' episode. The montage is full of classic moments from Ash's time with Butterfree, like the time it evolved from Caterpie into Metapod, when it evolved from Metapod into Butterfree, the time it fought in Cerulean Gym, that one time it ate a piece of Pokemon food, Butterfree being sent out of a Pokeball. Wow, Ash and Butterfree really didn't have that many interesting memories, did they? Direct quote from the narrator. Helping Butterfree to grow, Ash might have grown a little bit himself. Ash gets hard watching Butterfree mating season. pass it on. And so ends the saddest episode in Pokemon history. Feel free to debate me in the comments. It's time to wipe away the tears and get ourselves ready for the next 3-parter, all centered around the Saffron City gym. And get ready, because it's going to get really weird, trust me. So those are my WTF moments for Pokemon Season 1, Episode 21, Bye Bye Butterfree. Let me know your favorites down in the comments below and any that I missed. Hit like, share, and subscribe. If you'd like to support the channel like the beautiful people over here do, pledge to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/AceTrainerLiam. And to save money on G Fuel 30% today, use code ACE. But until next time, I'm Ace Trainer Liam. Keep on training.